All right, Mr. Wirgau, I'm sorry about the wait. We had, I caught him there, had him corrected and sent back over. So this is exactly what we discussed the other day with revisions. Mr. Grankovich is Mr. Wirgau.
How are you doing?
One of our attorneys in the office. Like I said, he's the one that was a prosecutor for 20 years. And so what we have here is regarding the criminal investigation being conducted into the death of Brynn Bills and potential criminal prosecutions arising from this investigation. I'm advising you of the following. Pursuant to the agreement set forth in this letter, it is the understanding of the Alpena County Prosecuting Attorney's Office that you have offered willingly to cooperate with the Michigan State Police, the Alpena County Prosecutor's Office, and any other federal, state, or local law enforcement agencies in the investigation concerning the death of Brynn Bills, to allow the government to access the credibility and value of the evidence and possible testimony that you say you can't provide. You agree to tell us everything you know about these crimes, and that you will do so completely truthfully and without guile. At this point, the only promises made you in consideration of the information are as follows. A, should you in good faith be unable to perform your promise be to full truthful cooperation, or should we decide for whatever reason not to use you as a witness, nothing either said or revealed will be used against you, so long as you have told the truth. However, if you lie or exaggerate in deception, like I said, Josh, 100%, of any sort, it's really broad, so it has to be spot on. The promise not to use your statements against you will be null and void.
Right.
You agree to be interviewed by the Michigan State Police, the Alpena Police Department, the Alpena County Prosecutor's Office. Your attorney or attorneys will be present. Mr. Grankovich will be present with us today. The interview will be audio and video recording. You know we're being videoed right now as we sit here.
Yep.
By the above law enforcement agencies and your attorneys. It will be stated on the record by the lead law enforcement detective, the Alpena County prosecuting attorney, or representative and your attorney that it is the agreement of all parties that nothing you say will be used against you except for purpose of impeachment or in the prosecution for perjury or in the prosecution's case in chief against you for any charge involving the death of Brynn Bills. The prosecutor wanted that in there. What that means is, like I told you, this gets you off, gets you consideration with regard to everything, with the exception if they found out you had any responsibility in the death of that young lady. Everything's off the table. Everything comes in. Okay? We've talked about that.
Yes.
Numerous times. Throughout the investigation and court proceedings, you're required to tell the truth no matter who asks the questions. The prosecutor, the judge, or the defense attorney. It is further understood that you will be subject to prosecution for any intentional deviation from the truth. In exchange for your cooperation, the prosecutor has offered the following. A, this is the district court file, currently keeps you in cuffs in orange. You're currently charged with unlawful imprisonment and felonious assault. Will be dismissed without prejudice upon the issuance of any charge involving the death of Brynn Bills. The prosecution may reissue that file in the event of a material breach of this agreement by you. In other words, if you lie.
Right.
The people will authorize a new case charging with accessory after the fact for murder of Brynn Bills. The people will not charge you as a habitual offender in that case. So you're looking at
right, great.
You got it. This agreement contains no other further considerations as to the sentencing. You will face no charges regarding the death of Brynn Bills. That's it. You're done. You will meet with agents of Michigan State Police, which we're going to do this afternoon, to provide truthful pro-offer. In the event that you commit a material lie of either commission or omission, this court will not bar your use against you. So we're waiving this court rule that says they can't use it. We're saying yes, you can. If he lies,
right,
you understand. Be advised that you have the right to an attorney present, which we will be. This agent will make notes at the time of or immediately following the meeting, or tape record for the pro-offer, and report to me the nature and extent of your cooperation. A polygraph examination will be conducted as quickly as it can be scheduled. And of course, we'll be with you at that as well. In the event that you have complied with all material respects to the agreement, and if the Alpena prosecuting attorney declines to call you as a witness in the criminal proceeding, you will nonetheless receive the full benefit of it. That means they charge people up and they say, you know what, we don't need your testimony. Still get that agreement.
Or they might settle the case.
Right.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me, Josh?
No.
Give me a date and a signature, Josh, and we got a bunch of them to sign.
Okay.
Make myself comfortable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Before we go any further, I am going to read you your rights, okay? Because
Okay.
you're on custody, so and we'll kind of explain some stuff and move on from there, all right?
Okay.
So, all right. Josh, you do have the right to remain silent.
Yes.
Okay. You're willing to give up these rights and answer my questions at this time?
Yes.
Okay. And you are Joshua J. Wirgau?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll just have you guys introduce yourselves.
Sure, I'm Joshua's counsel, Rick Steiger.
Okay.
With me is co-counsel, Dennis Brynn.
Very good. So, Josh, I am Anthony Ott. I'm a detective with the state police, and this is Steve Davis. He's a detective with the Alpena City Police. Okay. So, what we have here is I'll go over this next. Obviously, this is the proffer agreement. Have you had a chance to review this with your counsel?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand what is in it,
Yes.
and the terms of it and everything, and you have signed this.
Yes.
Okay. You guys
Yes,
are-
we reviewed it and signed it, that's.
Okay.
In the agreement, it states that the lead detective will make a statement about not being used against him except.
Sure. Yep. If you'd like, I can read that portion.
I think you should.
Okay. You understand that? Okay, you guys satisfied with that?
Yes, I think so.
The only thing I would mention is the prosecutor's office isn't present. Are you guys okay with that?
Yes, Kevin advised he was leaving.
Okay,
I
all
worked today.
right.
All right.
And he signed the agreement, so.
Yes, we
Okay. Okay. So we're satisfied with the proffer at this point?
Yes.
And ready to move forward with
Yes.
that? Okay.
Sir.
Steve, do you have anything before we?
No, I'm just gonna stress, be truthful with us here. If you're not, then it could come back to haunt you, so let's just get it out. I'm sure you want to. I can see you want to, so, that's it.
Okay. So, I guess to get moving with this and proceed forward, what can you tell us about Brynn and Brynn's death?
Tell you how it happened.
Can you speak up a little bit?
I can tell you who did it.
Okay, so you can tell us how it happened, who did it,
Yes.
what else?
And how it ended up getting to where she was.
Do you know why it happened?
Yes.
Where it happened?
Yep.
Who was involved?
Yes.
Was there more than one person involved?
Yes.
Do you know what everybody's involvement was?
Yes.
Okay.
Were you witness to this?
To the murder? No.
Were you
No.
you weren't present?
No, I was not.
How do you know this information?
Because they told me about it.
The people involved?
Yes.
Okay, firsthand.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess let's start.
Okay. It all started, I had went to Lansing for it was supposed to be 2 weeks, because my wife was taking her phlebotomy tests. Okay. Well, after a week, I had decided I was going to come home. Well, I had taken my littlest one, and we'd gotten in the truck, and we'd come home. And sorry, my ears popped right now. It's bugging the crap out of me. Because it echoes when I talk.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
So let's back up a little bit there. There's a little bit of comparison.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm just gonna have you slide a little bit that way there.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so you were in Lansing for 2 weeks, and you decided to come home.
Yep, because I wanted to start, because at that time I had kind of, I had quit Bedrock, because we had mutual disagreements, and I was looking for work while my cousin had given me the opportunity to work at Prowse. So I started, I was talking with him, and we had made it a point to that week I was going to come in and I was going to start working. So I was on my way home and I got a 911 text.
Explain that to me, what do you mean?
It was just a text message from 911.
Which means what?
Need to talk right now.
Okay.
So I called him and I tried to talk to him and he wouldn't tell me exactly what it was.
Okay.
So what he had said was, after probably about an hour of me bugging him, was the deal went bad and it wasn't good for the other person. So I'm thinking to myself, oh man. And he goes, and just so you know, we're at your house. And I mean, I didn't know what to think. My heart dropped. I got my little girl with me. I don't know what to do. So I proceeded to go home. I went home after getting the text message and stuff, and I walked into the house to find and they said, put your phones in the microwave. We need to talk. So we did. And he says, he started freaking out, and she started freaking out. And kind of freaking out too. And they said, we gotta do something with this body. And I said, what body? I kind of freaked out because it startled me. It's not something that I'm into. I don't like dead people. I don't like looking at them. I don't like seeing them. I don't like smelling them. Nothing. So he says, we got to figure out something to do. Well, then they started popping up with all these ideas, blah, blah. We could do this, we could do that. And then the bright idea was, well, we get an excavator. You could clean your yard up. Nobody would ever think of it. Well, little did I know they already had the excavator ordered. So the next day the excavator shows up at the house. I did do the work around my house that I wanted to get done. And then they asked me to dig them a hole. So I did. And after the hole was dug, they waited till night and they buried her, or dropped her body into the hole and asked me to cover it up. So I did. And then after we went back inside, he told me, if you ever tell anybody about this, I'll kill you. Same thing with,
I told you that as well. Okay.
they threatened my life, told me. And I mean, I begged and pleaded with them, and begged and pleaded, because I have 2 little girls, and you guys know obviously they mean to me,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't want to hear it. They knew I was a weak link. They knew I was soft. And took advantage of me. And then the reason for... And then it was probably... What was it? I can't remember when he got arrested downstate, but when he got arrested downstate, as soon as he got bonded out, he came up here. And they had picked me up at the Prowse lot and told me, you're coming with us. And she did snap my phone, and she told me, you're coming with us, because if anything gets said about this, I'm not doing time. I'm not doing time. I said, I don't want to do time either. I mean, that's how all that transpired. But throughout the time that they were at my house is how I knew who did what. It's because we were sitting there and Fred came up to me and he told me, he said, dude, she came over all methed out and she had a shank. He said it was probably about that big. Looked like a ice pick or something. I never seen it. That's just what he described to me. And he said, she come after me and she was going to kill me over a bag of dough. And he said, next thing you know, I see Abby come flying through the air and jumped on her. And I guess he said the girl started freaking out and screaming, and he said we didn't know what to do, and squeezed until she stopped breathing. I might need that garbage can.
Just take a break. Take a break.
Okay, anyway, that's where I was. He had said that on her and choked her out and killed her. But during this whole situation, they kept yelling to her, stop, stop, stop. We don't want to kill you. We don't want to kill you. And yes, that's what he told me happened.
When we start, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when we start saying he and they, would you
You want me
please
to put
use
names?
If you
Yeah.
could,
Okay.
please, yes.
Yeah.
That's what me had happened.
Okay.
And I had gone along with that same story. Because when I had gotten back from Lansing, they were already at my house.
Okay.
When you say, what about the same story?
She said the same story.
She said that she had choked her until
Yes.
she was dead.
Yeah.
She told you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me sitting in the same room talking, and they just proceeded to tell me, I guess they trusted
Okay.
that I wouldn't say anything.
Where did that conversation happen at?
My living room.
Your living room.
Where was the conversation took place?
Out there. Came out there when this first started, and then to go because his girlfriend or whatever wanted him home, so he had to go home. Well, he didn't come back till the next day.
Okay. Who was present when Brynn was killed?
As far as I know from what they've told me, would be
Okay. So as far as you know, Bruce was there?
no.
Okay. Where did it take place?
At his house. Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with that house?
Yes.
You've been to that house?
Yes.
And he told you that's where it took place?
Yes.
Did he say where at in the house it took place?
kitchen, and then it led to the freezer room, the little entryway.
Okay. I'm not familiar with this house. I've never
Okay.
been in it, so.
You got a piece of paper I can draw you.
Yeah.
I can draw you. I'm just gonna, it's not gonna be Picasso, but,
That's fine.
alright. Let's see, the garage is right here. This door comes into the house. It's partitioned off right here. And there's a door here. It's not that wide, but we'll say about like that. And this is the back porch. Works perfect. Okay. There was a freezer here. And then you walk into here. This is the garage. And this is the door going into the house.
Okay.
As soon as you walk into this door on your right when you come in, that'll be your kitchen area.
Okay.
That's where it happened. And then they left her lay in here. And then loaded her up in his Hummer.
Okay.
When you, I'm gonna back up a little bit. You decided to come home from there. Why did you decide to come home?
Honestly, I was coming home because I was going to start working at Browns.
Okay.
I had it planned out with my cousin that we were going to start that week.
Okay.
We didn't know what day, but it was going to be that week.
Okay.
But I wanted to be home because, for one, my wife wasn't working. I was the only one working at the time.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to let my bills go back.
Okay.
Because I've always been one to make sure my bills are either paid ahead of time or they're covered if I'm going to go do something like that.
Was there a job that you were gonna do down there with her dad? That
Oh,
didn't go
yes.
through? Okay.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
That's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was supposed to go do a roofing job for that second week.
All right.
And it fell through.
Okay.
So then I said, well, I can't sit here on my ass and do nothing.
Okay.
I got to go make some kind of money.
Okay.
Okay. So what time that morning did you get this 911 text? And you don't have to be exact on the time. I'm just kind of curious. Was it early morning?
It was like mid-afternoon, somewhere in there.
You were already on your way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But the text actually came through the night before, but I didn't get it. My phone didn't register it until later on.
Okay. Do you recall what time the night before?
No, I really don't. It had to have been late, because I went to bed early because I knew I was going to be getting up early to leave.
Okay. Do you remember what day or date this was?
I don't want you guessing, Josh.
No, I don't want you
No,
to.
I don't. I'm not
Okay.
going to make a guess because I don't want to be wrong.
Okay.
But it would be in, we used to use the Signal app.
Okay.
That's where it would be.
Okay.
Signal?
Yeah.
So you left Lansing. You're on your way north, and the text came through where you finally looked at
Yes.
the text, and then you called.
I texted him and said, what's going on?
Okay.
And he never texted back, so then I ended up calling him.
Okay. So you call him midway through your trip back up north, and he tells you what again?
He said that a deal went bad and it wasn't good for the other person. That's all he said.
Okay.
He didn't say nobody was dead. He didn't say nothing. That's all he said.
Okay.
Because he knew I would have turned around right then and there and came back down to Lansing.
Okay. And then he told you that he was at your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, oh, I just want to let you know we're staying at your house.
Okay.
Did it take some time to get that out of him? The deal went bad?
Yeah,
you mentioned
it
something
did.
about you were on the phone with
It
him
did.
about an hour.
Yeah, it took quite a bit
Okay.
to get it out of, to get him to come out and say that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And then he said that they were at your house.
Yeah.
Did he say who
meaning
they were on the phone?
Our code name for is Linda,
Linda, okay.
and then his code name is Streets.
Streets, okay. Does have a code name?
Q.
Q, okay. Did he say Q was there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. So, you get home. All three of them are still there?
Yep.
What vehicles are in your driveway?
The Hummer was parked behind my house, which I thought was odd.
Okay.
And the truck was out front.
What is...
Maroon Chevy Blazer.
Okay.
Or sometimes a silver Dodge Caravan.
Okay.
That's his girlfriend's car.
So you get home, they're inside your house. Okay. What, do you recall what time of day you got home?
It's like,
Don't guess if you don't know.
no.
Daylight out?
Yeah, it was daylight.
Okay, fair enough. You go in. Now, where was Brynn's body at this point?
It was as far as I knew, it was in his Hummer.
Okay.
In the back of his Hummer.
Okay. At any point, was her body in your house?
No.
No?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you ever see her body in the Hummer?
Yes.
Where at in the Hummer was it?
In the far back.
So in the trunk area?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it in anything?
Yeah. Cardboard box.
What?
Garbage bags.
Garbage bags? The body was in garbage bags and then in the cardboard box, or
Yeah.
cardboard box covered in garbage bags?
And the sheet.
Okay. What do you recall? What kind of box it was?
No, I don't. Just
Color?
it was just a brown cardboard box.
Okay, so it didn't have logos or
No.
anything of significance on it.
No.
What about
I'm sorry, how do you know it was her body there?
He told me.
He, okay,
Told me.
alright. Did you actually see the body then?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I did when they put the body into the hole
Okay.
and asked me to
Right.
cover it. That was the
Okay.
only time I ever seen the body.
Told you the body was this thing and it was in bags.
And I could
in a
smell
box. You could smell it, okay.
Okay. We'll get to that. What color was the sheet?
And again, Josh, only if you know, if you remember.
Yeah, it was a lighter color. I can't give you a perfect color.
Okay.
It's the lighter color sheet.
Okay.
Garbage bags, white or black, or some other color?
Honestly, I'm not positive because I don't know if it was both.
Okay.
And I don't want to say one.
No,
or
that's fine.
No.
No, that's fine.
I'm trying to think of everything I possibly can.
And we certainly don't want you to guess, so that's...
No,
that's
because
fine.
that wouldn't be.
Tells you did he say Brynn, or did he say the body?
He said the body. They wouldn't tell me her name.
Okay,
They didn't tell me her name until later on.
alright. Did they say it was a male or female?
Female.
It was a female.
What do they refer to her as?
The psycho.
Okay.
And you knew it to be a female, though?
Yeah. They said it was a female.
Okay.
Did you know Brynn?
No, I honestly did not know Brynn.
Did you
I've
never
never
met
met her. I've never even heard of her.
Okay.
I honestly have never met or heard. She's way younger than I am.
Sure.
I'm 34 years old. And honestly, I don't really talk to anybody.
Okay.
So you get home on that day, but you don't remember the day you got home?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the
Okay.
date that it was.
Do you start digging the hole that day?
No, it was the next
The
day.
next day. Did you see the box and bags that day you got home?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Okay.
see him until afterwards because he
Okay.
kept telling me that. I kept asking him why his Hummer was behind the house. And he said, oh, no reason. I just didn't want somebody to question why I'm here. And I said, okay. And he said, but It'll be fine. Don't worry. It'll be fine. I knew something was wrong, but I fear for my life with those two.
At what point did you find out that there was a body? They had brought a body to your house.
The morning, about the afternoon that we got the excavator.
Okay, so it was been the following day.
You knew that they had killed her.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't know the body was there?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And obviously you knew, or they told you the reason that the excavator was there is under the guise that you're going to do your landscaping, but you're also going to bury this body.
Right.
Okay. So, excavator gets delivered to your house. Who delivered it? Okay. Do you remember who from sir?
I think it was Nate.
Okay. They get there. Do you remember a time? Morning, midday,
it was
afternoon?
early morning.
Early morning. So, the excavator gets delivered. Who was present when the excavator got delivered?
Myself.
Okay.
In the house sleeping.
Okay, so she was there. She just... Okay. Was anybody else present?
No. My dad stopped later on in the day.
Okay, so when the excavator got dropped off, and you both talked to whoever dropped it off? Okay. What happened then?
Nothing. I started...
Just walk us through the day.
Okay, I started cleaning up my yard, and sorry, but I started cleaning up my yard, started cleaning the front yard up, because it was all weeds, it was all nasty, and I haven't had time to do anything with it, so I was trying to make it look nice, so when the wife came home it would be nice. And so I did that for a while, and then my dad showed up, and we talked to my dad for a couple hours. I don't know if it was a couple hours, but for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad's a talker. And then after that, we went to the backyard, and I pushed up in the back there, in the backyard, to clean all the weeds and stuff off, and so I could at least walk back there, because I knew that the daycare lady was going to be staying out front too eventually, so that way we could get to the power pole so she could plug her camper in.
Okay.
Well, that's when and Abby said, let's go back here and try to dig a hole and see how deep we can get, because it's all rock out there. We got pretty deep.
When you say you went back there to dig a hole, are you talking with shovels?
No, with the excavator.
Yes. Okay.
And we got pretty deep, and that'll do. And then he went inside. He says, just wait here for a second. He went inside, he went up. He'd come back outside, and they both come over and rolled her, what I was assumed would, out of the back of the truck into the hole.
Did they move the truck to the hole, or did
Yes,
they?
they did.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
You're talking the Hummer.
Yes.
Okay.
I missed that. They drove it
Yeah.
Yes.
And they drove it.
to the
They
hole.
drove it right to the back.
How many holes did you dig prior to?
To that hole?
Yeah. Did you dig any other holes back there?
I dug a burn pit.
Okay. But back in the back of the property there, did you?
Oh yeah, I dug a couple.
Okay. Explain that.
They had me test dig to see which holes we could get deepest on.
Okay. Can you describe where the holes were?
Right in the same vicinity of where the body was.
Okay.
Probably not even 10-foot radius.
Okay.
I wouldn't think they were that far.
Okay. So one hole you got deeper than the other?
Yeah,
Which hole was that?
the one in between the apple trees.
Okay. Where was the other hole?
If you were looking towards the road in between the apple trees, be kitty corner to the back, right by a pine tree.
Okay. And that one, What was
It wouldn't go deep enough.
hitting rocks?
Yeah.
Okay. So the hole that you dug, how deep did you dig it?
I couldn't. Honestly, I couldn't even see how deep the hole was. I just went off of the boom. But the boom was almost touching the ground.
Was it dark out?
No.
Daylight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Relative daylight would be better because people would be at work.
Okay. So you dug the hole. And then what happened after that?
He had went up to the house and woke. They drove the Hummer to the back and disposed of what I would assume be her body.
Okay. How'd they do that?
Just grabbed her out of the back of the Hummer and threw her in the hole.
Was she in anything at that point?
No.
Did you see her body then?
I did. I seen part of it, but I kind of looked away because I didn't want to see it. Because I would have lost it.
Okay.
What part did you see?
Her feet. And then I heard the thud.
What happened then?
I was in shock. And all they kept saying was, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be okay. Oh, don't worry, it'll be okay."
What happened after they put her in the hole?
He had me grab a big chunk of concrete and drop it in the hole.
Okay.
Was there anything else done to her prior to that? Before that?
Said something about they had had with her while she was dead.
While she was dead? Alright, tell me about that.
Take a minute. Absolutely. Take a breather.
Anything? You guys want anything?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Alright? Okay. So my question was, anything happened prior?
I didn't know right away
Okay,
until these last couple weeks.
okay.
And it was probably since, probably about a week ago. He had,
Names again, please.
yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's right.
I'm sorry. Brad had come to me and he said, once you guys were starting to move in and, do searches and everything else, he's like, man, they're gonna find my DNA. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I don't want you to think that I'm disgusting, but I think that bitch while she was dead.
Okay.
And he just got into this weird, demented mindset. And it scared me.
Okay. Where did that?
That happened in... That would have been face-to-face at my house.
At your house? And it was after the investigation started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright. And he says...
After it came out that that Brynn was missing.
Okay.
Was anybody else present when he made that statement?
But yeah, that shit out of that bitch are just disgusting.
So he was present
Yeah.
while Brad was at it? her corpse?
Yes.
Did he do anything to her? Did she?
He said something about she bit her nipple, or that I remember. I don't want to say anything that's false, but
Okay.
She had done something.
yes.
Okay.
So when he made the statement to you that they're going to find his DNA in her, did he say anything else about that?
Yeah, they kept saying that they wanted to dig her up, and get rid of her. So it's too late for that. I said, I just want you to know that you fucked my life up. And he cried to me and told me, I know I have, and I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I said, no, you're not. I said, if you were so sorry, I said, you would go in, turn yourself in, and tell them everything that happened and I had nothing to do with it. I said, that would show me that you were sorry.
Was this after he had been arrested downstate? Or
Yes.
was this after?
This was just this last week.
Okay.
Okay.
The week before I turned myself in because we were running.
Okay.
Did he say he did anything to her body after he had with it to try to
he
dispose?
bleached.
He what?
He bleached.
Tell me about that.
He said he dumped bleach down her to try to remove the DNA.
When you say down her, can you elaborate on
Down
that?
her vagina.
Did he tell you how he did that?
No, he didn't.
So he just said he bleached her
Yes. He tried to clean.
vaginal area.
Yes.
Okay.
So he did say that, though, their vaginal area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hoping that he'd gotten all the DNA out that he needed to, and I don't care how hard you try, you're not gonna.
When did he tell you that?
Just that last week, that before we turned ourselves in.
Was that in the same time frame as the time he told you he had sex with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Same day?
No. He told me he had sex with her the first, they were probably 2-3 days apart.
Okay.
Did he say where he was at and where she was at when he
Yeah, it was right on their kitchen floor.
where he had sex with her?
Yes.
And where he put the bleach on her?
Yes. Well, he didn't say that's where he put the bleach on her.
Okay.
He didn't tell me that, but he told me that that's where he had sex with her.
Okay.
So, in my mind, that would be where I would imagine he would
Well,
have
don't
did it.
guess, Josh.
Okay.
Don't speculate.
Okay.
But
So you-
I'm not gonna fully say yes to that.
Okay, as far as you know
No.
where that took place.
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. But he did
I don't
say,
want to make accusations.
right, he did say though that he had sex with her on his kitchen floor.
Yes.
Okay, he did say that for that.
Yes.
It was after she was dead.
Yes.
Do you know if he took her body anywhere else other than from his house into his Hummer and then drove it up to your house?
No, I don't.
Okay. So,
I don't know where he would have went in between there.
okay. Did he go into detail or did he make mention of why he was with her that night? Why he was with her?
No, he didn't say anything.
No.
I guess I never asked.
Okay. Did he know her before that, do you know?
I don't think he did.
Okay.
He might have, but I can't say yes or no to that.
Okay.
I can't answer that. I can't answer that truthfully. I should say.
Yeah. So, we'll get back to a bite. Did she tell you she bit?
Yes.
She did,
Yes.
but not where.
No.
Okay. Right. I just wanted to clarify that.
But when she was joking about it, she said, "Bet that bitch's nipple."
She was joking about it.
Well, was she or was she not?
Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't say.
But in the context, so as she told you this, she was kind of joking, like it was funny to her?
No.
Oh.
Well, she said it like it was funny to her.
Okay.
But I don't know if you guys. She's got a lot of health problems. Mentally.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I believe she did bite her somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't say yes or no, but
Okay.
in my opinion.
Just what you said, that's
Yeah,
it. No
just what you
opinion.
said,
Just
yeah.
what you said.
What was she wearing when they put her in the hole?
Who? Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Okay. No bra, underwear?
No.
Okay.
Not that I've seen.
Did they put anything else in the hole with her?
I can't answer truthfully on that.
Okay. Just because you don't remember?
Yep.
Okay. Did they do anything to her in the hole before you covered her up?
Set her on fire.
Explain that.
Dumped gasoline down there. And burned what he could to try to erase any DNA or anything.
Okay.
How long the process was that?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. So you put gasoline on her? Where do you get the gasoline?
He bought it from the store.
You bought it from the store.
He
Were
had
you
it.
with me
He
when
had
you
it. No,
Okay.
he had it with him.
Right, so he brought I'm guessing
Just
a
a
can?
little 2-gallon can.
Little 2-gallon can. Where was that can left at?
I think he took it.
Oh, you got it with him?
I think.
Okay.
I can't honestly say where.
Okay.
Did he put anything else in the hole?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So when he attempted to burn her, when he did burn her, who was all present for that?
Me. Him.
Okay. Was there for any of this?
No. Never showed back up.
Okay. Is aware of what's taken place?
Yes.
He is?
Yes.
What's his involvement in all of this?
He was just there.
Did he partake in any of the trying to dispose of her or anything of that nature?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And you know?
Yes.
How well?
Very
What's your
well.
relationship?
I've known as long as I've known.
Okay. Which is how long?
Probably 15 years.
Okay. Consider him a friend?
I would hope, yeah.
Okay. And you considered you guys were friends?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your relationship with him?
I really don't have a relationship. The relationship I was just a mutual friend because I'm kind of dating her.
Okay.
She did not get along with my wife.
Okay.
She had come over to the house and started some things between my wife and I.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, neither one of us have really cared for her.
Okay. How long have you known?
A little under a year.
Okay.
I've known of her, but I haven't known personally like I do now.
Okay.
I've known of her just from hearsay.
Okay. Was there when she was killed?
I couldn't answer that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the pit for a second. I don't mean to jump around on that. You see, they put her in the pit. They as an where are you at this time?
Sitting on the excavator.
Yeah, that's okay. You hear a thud. You see her in the pit.
I couldn't see her because it was down too
Okay.
far from the angle that I was at.
You seen feet though.
Yeah.
Okay, going in. At what point does, you say, was it immediately after this? He put gas on her?
Yes,
Did somebody light her then?
he did.
He did.
What
With
did
what?
Huh?
With
Match.
what? With a match? Okay.
Actually, he lit a piece of paper towel and dropped it in there.
Okay. Was there
Yeah.
or did it go slow?
Yeah.
Like gasoline would
Yeah,
not
it
diesel
bursted.
fuel? Okay. Alright. How long did that burn for?
Probably like 5 minutes.
That's it?
5 or 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
He just kept dumping gas on it.
Okay.
Because there was a neighbor outside back at his barn and he didn't want any suspicions.
Okay. The barn right behind your house?
Yes.
That guy was there?
Yes.
And he's smoke coming out?
A little bit,
A
yeah.
little bit? Okay.
More of a stink.
More of a stench.
Can you describe that smell?
No, I can't. Not unless you want to see my breakfast.
No, sorry.
Okay.
It was a bad smell.
Yes.
5 minutes it burns, you say?
Yes.
Roughly. That knowledge of it. Okay, what happens next?
Then we hurried up and covered it up.
You had mentioned somebody said to get cement.
Oh, he had told me to put a big chunk of concrete over it.
Okay. Where'd you get that from?
Just laying around in my backyard.
Okay.
Did he say why to do that?
No, he didn't.
No? He just told you to?
Yeah. I have no clue about any of this.
Okay.
Like how to do any of this.
Okay.
But that's what he had asked me to grab a piece of concrete and put that in there first and then bury it.
Okay. So you put the concrete in the hole, you buried it all up, then what took place?
And then he had me dig that burn pit up by the house.
Okay.
Why is that?
He said he had a few things to burn.
Okay. Did he do that?
As far as I know, I can't answer that 100%.
Alright. Do you know what the few things were that he wanted to burn?
Her clothes.
Her clothes? Did you see those?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Where did he get those from?
What's that?
The clothes.
Out of his Hummer, I would imagine.
Okay, but you didn't see them.
I didn't see
Okay.
any of that. I had, at that point in time, it was dark out,
Okay.
and I had fed my child, and we went down and we laid down in bed and watched SpongeBob. And he said that him and Abby were going to have a bonfire. And I said, that's fine, just don't let it get too big. And he had said, well, okay, we'll be outside if you need us. So I didn't want to know any more than I already knew. But I had asked him, what did you burn? And I said, be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I burned some clothes.
And that's in the pit that's directly behind your house, kind of.
Right.
It'd be more towards like behind your bedroom area of the house. It's still there. You've got the shale on both sides.
Yep.
You know, you can tell you dug it with the excavator.
Yep.
Okay, but you never saw her clothes or anything.
No, I
He
did
just
not.
he just told you burned her clothes.
Yes.
All right.
Did you say her or some? Because you used some a second ago. I just want to make sure. Did he say her clothes or some clothes?
No, he said her clothes.
Her clothes, okay.
Well, no, I can't. I can't say her clothes.
Okay.
I can't.
I just want to make sure I heard you.
I can't remember if he did say her or some.
Okay.
And he said he burned the clothes.
Yeah, he just said he had to burn clothes.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything wrong.
No, you said it twice differently. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all the same night?
Yep.
You fall asleep in your daughter's room?
No, in my room.
You went to your own room. Next day, are they still there?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about that. What happens that day?
They stayed till the excavator left.
Okay.
I finished doing some yard work out front, you know, until they came to get the excavator. And then, after they came to get the excavator, they had went home, and it was me and my daughter left at the house. Well, I kept hearing noises outside. I don't know if it was just me freaking out or whatever, but he came and got me, took me to town, and I stayed at his house.
Okay. Was that the next day?
Yeah.
With your daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
So you stayed at,
Yes.
when you were at his house, does he talk about where this all took place? Does he point it out to you?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He told me before, but he didn't point anything out.
Okay.
I told him before we got there I didn't want to know anything, or I wouldn't go into the house.
Okay. At what point does he tell you? Was that day he was at your house he told you what happened? Or was it sometime later he tells you about having sex with their corpse?
That was later.
Later on. Okay. So it wasn't that day that he picks you up, takes you out there. Why didn't you drive there?
Where?
To Brandt's house.
I did.
You did.
Yeah, he followed me. He was on his motorcycle.
Oh, I thought you said
He had come out there. Yeah, he had come out there on his motorcycle and followed me to town in my truck.
Okay.
Was it the house?
His house.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So, do you know if he played any part in transporting or moving the body?
I do not.
You don't know?
I do not.
But he was there when they were discussing?
Yes.
When he was at your house when you got home from Lansing?
Yes.
Okay. And he was aware of what had taken place and was privy to these conversations?
I can't say yes or no, but...
Have you ever had a conversation with about what took place?
Won't talk to anybody.
When you got home, whose vehicles were there? So there's two vehicles. Okay. And then you said earlier that you guys sat around and kind of brainstormed ideas of what to do.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, they just kept asking and I said, I don't know. I don't know what.
They as in?
And I said, I don't know what to do. And said, well, the easiest thing to do would be just get an excavator and bury it in your backyard.
Okay.
And that was, I mean, it wasn't even a long conversation, really.
Okay. What were some other ideas?
Said, oh, get a wood chipper and just chip her up into a million pieces. And
Okay. What's some of the ideas?
I honestly can't remember.
Okay. Have any ideas besides the excavator?
Not really.
Okay. So on the other idea was a wood chipper.
Yeah. Or cut her up and toss her in different areas of state land. And that's when I got her and said, do you have a chainsaw? Are you going to go out there and do it?
Okay. And what did she say?
Well, no. He goes, well, then shut the fuck up.
Okay. Did she listen to him when he says that?
Kinda.
So, throws that out, an idea of getting an excavator?
Yes.
Okay.
Who rented the excavator? How did he pay for it?
Credit card?
His own credit card?
Yes.
Okay. How did he rent it?
He called and ordered it.
He called him. He didn't physically go there?
No.
Okay, so he called him on the phone.
Yeah.
Were you there when he called and rented it?
I was there, but I wasn't present.
Okay.
I was in my room, he was in the living room. Because he had come into the room and said I rented an excavator.
Earlier you said that unbeknownst to you that they had already rented an excavator.
Yeah. He said that,
Okay.
but he didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't. When he had said we had already rented one, it was
Okay.
so he kind of locked me in.
Okay.
I meant to mention that, and I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's fine.
I really did mean to
No,
mention.
I'm just trying to clarify.
I understand.
Okay.
I just don't want you guys thinking that I'm throwing you for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we asked clarification.
Right.
So,
So when you got home from Lansing, he said he'd already rented the excavator?
Yeah, he had told me he had already had one rented.
Okay. However, he didn't, and
Right.
he in fact rented it later on in the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Which also could have been true, because he said when they had called, they didn't ask for a credit card number or anything. So they had to have called back to get a credit card number to get it to go through. Because they're not just going to show up and drop a $50,000 machine off in your yard
okay.
with no trace of, deposit or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that very well could have been true.
Okay.
Do you know how much he paid for the excavator?
I think it came out to like $500 and some.
Okay. Alright. So I'm gonna back up a bit here
Okay.
to when Brynn was killed. You had mentioned that she had came after the shank.
That's what I was told.
Did he say why?
Overdope.
Can you elaborate on that or shed some light on that?
I don't know much about what happened. If I could give you more, I would. That's all I know. Is that it was over drugs.
Okay. Do you know what kind of drugs?
Cocaine.
So he said that she came after him.
Yep.
What happened then?
In the middle.
Okay.
And attacked her.
Did they describe the attack?
Not very much.
Okay. So after.
They described it to where attacked her. They were real short and sweet about it.
Okay.
Attacked her. They wrestled around for a little bit in the kitchen. She started screaming. They said they didn't want to have to kill her, and ended up choking her out.
What was he doing while
Too.
fighting with?
That's what he had told me.
Did he say what he was doing?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He just said that all three of them got in a tussle in the kitchen.
Okay.
That part right there, the whole, whatever happened at his house, I only got bits and pieces.
Okay.
Because they were real eerie on what to tell me and what not to tell me. Some of the stuff because I listen,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the stuff I hear and I just catch on to.
When you hear this stuff, who are they talking to?
Each other.
Sounds-
Talking to each other.
Okay.
Because, like, if we're in a different room or something and I walk by or I hear them whispering, sometimes I would stop and I'd listen.
Okay.
Because none of this should ever happen.
What do you mean by that?
What's that?
I said you're right about that.
None of this should have ever happened. I should have never been involved. And what they did should have never happened. I feel horrible for that family. And now I'm brought into it.
Yeah. Why do you think he brought you into it?
I'm an easy target.
What do you mean by that?
He's always gone to me. And I feel like he put on a front to show that he cared about me. He did this, he did that, he did that, and then in the end he fucked me.
That's what he used to.
Pretty much.
You considered him a good friend?
Yeah.
Somebody that you trusted?
I call his parents Mom and Dad.
Okay.
Speaking of this, what did he tell his parents?
I honestly don't know. When he would talk to his mom, he wouldn't let us hear anything.
Okay.
If he was talking to her on the phone or anything, he would walk away.
Okay. So, you get home from Lansing. They're there. With what time does
Probably an hour after I got back, because I really just wanted to come there and smoke meth.
Okay. Okay. Leaves. He was alone there. Yes? He was alone. He didn't have anybody else with him.
No, he had nobody.
So when he left, he was
Yeah.
alone. Okay. That night, you guys rent the excavator. The next day comes. Do they leave at any time from the time that you got home until the body was buried? Do they ever leave your house in that time frame?
No.
They were there the whole time. Did you?
Except for after the body was covered, we went to town and got clothes. Because they were going to stay at my house. And then they changed their mind and they said, when we got to his house, they said, oh, we're not going to stay there. We're just going to come home tonight. So we went back out to my house. And they stayed there for a little bit. We ordered food from BC Pizza. And I fed my baby. And like I said, we went to lay down and I kept hearing strange noises. I don't know if it was just in my head or what. But I had called him and he had asked, he had rode his bike out and then followed me to town and we stayed at his house that night.
Okay.
We stayed there until Chelsea came back from Lansing.
Okay, I just want to clarify. This was the day you buried the body or the next day?
The next day.
Okay, after
yes.
After the excavator.
After they picked up the excavator.
Okay, so did they leave your house any time from when you got home from Lansing? When did they leave your house for the first time after you got home from Lansing? Was it the day you got home from Lansing, the day you buried the body, or the day the excavator got picked up? Because those are 3 different days, correct?
Yeah, I think they left. Just the day after.
Okay.
I don't want to say that for sure.
Which that would have been the day the
Same
excavator
day
got
the
left?
excavator left?
Yeah.
They left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they never left.
But in between there, I can't be positive because I don't remember if we did go anywhere, if we didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So I can't say yes or no to that.
Okay.
Just because I don't know for sure. I can't remember if we did or if we didn't. If we did, I would say.
You ordered pizza, you put it in whose name?
They ordered the pizza. I don't know whose name they put it in.
Right.
And they went and picked it up?
No, it came to the house.
Yeah, delivered.
Yes. I don't know whose name they put it in though.
How'd they pay for it?
I think he pays cash.
Don't guess so, Josh.
Yeah. But it was.
I'm not
Okay.
for certain.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a question. You had said something about put your phones in the microwaves. Well, tell me about that. What?
I always thought it was safe if you put your phone in the microwave, that if it was being recorded or...
So what point did they tell you to put your phone in the microwave?
As soon as I walked into the house,
As soon as you came in the house from Lansing.
yes,
And was there other phones in the microwave?
yes.
Was there? Okay.
How many?
And that's when you put your phone in, and that's when you guys start talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
He always thought that it was safe to do it that way.
Okay.
Do you know what they did with the phone?
No, I do not.
Did you ever see it?
No, I did not.
No. And you never saw her clothes?
No, I did not.
So time goes on. You go and you stay at for a few days until describe your time there?
It was no different than any other time. I don't know. I was sad, kind of bummed out. I just kind of laid there. Because he obviously doesn't have too much at his house because he's going through a separation with.
Okay.
And he didn't have much there, but we made the best of it. His kids were there, but for the most of it, I felt like my little one knew something was wrong.
Okay.
Because she wouldn't leave my side.
Okay.
So we laid on a blow-up mattress on the floor in the living room. I really didn't leave that blow-up mattress to go to the bathroom or, we really didn't leave the house.
Mm. I
left the one morning to go get cough drops and cough syrup and stuff from the, I think I went to Myers or Walgreens, one of the two.
Okay. How many kids does he have?
3 girls and a boy.
How old are they?
I don't even know. I don't know the ages of them. I know 13.
Is he the oldest?
Yeah.
So
I think the other ones are 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Okay. Does he have any young ones?
Yeah, he's got a baby.
A baby with Amber. How? Brand new baby?
No, she's 2. Maybe 1.5, 2.
Okay.
Somewhere.
And when you were there, were all of his kids there?
Just the baby.
Okay. What about... Were any of her kids there?
No, I've never met any of her kids.
Okay. Do you know if she has kids?
I knew she had one.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Okay.
Like I said, I didn't really know much about it.
When did you find out that the person was?
Probably just recently when they had told me that he had sex with her and stuff.
Okay.
He had told me that that's who it was, and I lost it. I wanted to hurt him so bad.
Okay.
How did that conversation come up?
What's that?
When he told you he had sex with her?
I don't know. He's random.
Okay.
Like random things pop into his head, and he just starts talking.
Okay.
This conversation again took place at his house?
Huh?
This conversation with him took place at his
No,
house,
at my
at
house.
your house?
Yeah.
Who else was there? And was that, and you said a couple of days later they talked about putting bleach in her?
Yes.
Was that at your house too?
No, that was out in the woods.
That was out in the woods. Is that after the incident where you guys took off? You went out to the woods?
No, it was about the same time.
At the same time. Okay.
Describe the last week to me there, from the time that they picked you up at the tow yard.
Yep, they picked me up at the tow yard. And then we got dropped off down the road from my house. We went to my house, we picked up some clothes and, food.
Who picked you up at the tow yard?
Yes.
Okay. And what was he driving?
Minivan.
Whose minivan?
His girlfriend's.
What color is that?
Silver.
Silver minivan? Okay. So who was with when you got picked up at Prell's? Okay. So you went from... Yeah, and that was Prell's up there on the north side?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went from Prell's to your house?
Yep.
Did drive you right to your house?
No, he dropped us off down the road.
Where at down the road?
Right by the antenna.
Okay. How come he didn't drive you right to your house?
Because he didn't want to be seen around my house.
Okay. So you guys walked then to your house?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens then?
We went into the house, we got food and clothes, and Then we took off, we packed it all in a bag and we took off walking.
What kind of a bag?
It's a backpack,
Backpack. What color?
black.
Okay.
Where did you leave your truck at, Pros?
Didn't have a choice, I got picked up.
You, they told you to leave it there?
Yeah.
They as in,
Yes,
okay.
Is there a reason they told you to leave it there?
because if I were to drive it around, it would cause attention to us.
Okay. So they believed that somebody was watching your...
Oh, they knew it.
They knew it? Okay.
Did they tell you how?
No, they didn't, but we found out.
How's that?
We found out why pissed off and left. Pissed off and left because we found out that she was talking to somebody and had 48 hours to come up with something.
Explain that to me, because I got lost there.
We found out from somebody been talking to, whether it be you guys or somebody else, when she got picked up on her warrant here in town.
Okay.
From downstate, and got wind of that and confronted her about it, and she got all pissed off and left.
When was this?
This was probably 3 days before we turned ourselves in.
Okay. And you guys, where were you staying at that point?
We stayed at for 2 days.
Okay. Where was she at when she took off? Or where were you guys at when she took off?
We actually went to town. We had went to town, taken us to town, and she just asked us to drop her off on Worth Road.
Where at?
Right. Right. If you know where that store is, where it goes to Worth and Spruce.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you come around that corner, right before you get to the Devil's Lake entrance.
So she gets out of her vehicle?
Yep. So fine, if that's what you want, then you can go to handle this on your own.
And you see her walk away?
Yep.
And what do you guys do?
We pulled away and then we turned around and went back. Well, we didn't go right away back to Bruce's, but
And that was the last time you saw Abby?
that was the last time I've seen Abby.
Did tell you who we suspected she was talking to?
The police.
The police? Do you know who she was talking to?
No, I don't.
No. Why did he think she was talking to the police again?
Somebody had given him word.
Okay.
Do you know who the somebody was?
No, I do not.
Okay. So you guys, and somehow you end up by Brett's.
Yep.
Tell us how that happened.
Give us a ride back out to. And I sat out there, talked and thought and thought and thought and thought. So we both have kids and we both wanted to see our kids again.
Okay.
And he told me that he's never going to see his kids again.
Why did he say that?
Because he's got too much over his head. The night that we were going to turn ourselves in, he freaked out. Told his parents that he won't go back.
So there's no conversation in your presence between his parents?
No,
I mean, they didn't ask what are you talking about going back for what?
oh, then there was, yes.
Okay. All right. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he said I won't go back to prison.
All right. Did they say why would you go back to prison?
He said because we'd have to sit here and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight.
Did he tell them what happened with? Is it
No.
what I'm getting at?
No,
Okay. So they never asked why would you go back to prison?
right. He kept telling them that we were innocent, we were innocent, we were innocent, and then his parents said, well, if you're that innocent, then let's go. I'll take you down there and train yourself in, and if you're that innocent, then they shouldn't have no problem leaving
Innocent of what?
anything.
Were his parents questioning him regarding, were they asking him what his involvement was, if he had any? Is that why you guys were having this conversation?
No.
No?
He had brought it up himself. He
To
said,
his parents?
Yeah. He said, I think that this whole thing's getting blown out of proportion and blah, blah, blah. Because he had to make it sound good for his parents because he didn't want to tell his parents.
Okay.
This whole thing, what whole thing?
The whole situation with,
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
He had a conversation with his parents about
yeah. But
Okay.
he didn't want them to know anything about it because he's put his parents through so much and he couldn't say that to his mom.
Okay. So, when you guys go from Prell's yard up to your house, what happens to your DVR for your home security system?
That I don't know what happened to it.
You don't know?
I didn't take it.
You didn't take it? Do you know if they took it?
They might have.
They might have?
Might have.
Okay.
I don't know where it went.
Okay. Do you know it's gone?
Huh?
Do you know that it's gone?
No, I didn't know it was gone.
Okay. Not until right now?
Right.
Okay.
And the only way they could have gotten it was when I went to the bathroom.
Okay. So you guys go back to your house, you pack some food, you said, in a bag?
Yes.
Okay. Who picks you up then?
From there,
Yes. Okay.
where do you go from there?
we went from there to
Okay. Who was with you when you guys go from there to
me.
So at what point did you drop her off? I guess I was confused
This was,
about that.
we dropped her off later on in the week, like
Okay.
2 days before we turned ourselves in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so you go up to
Yeah.
stay there were you staying at his parents' house?
No,
Where were you guys staying?
out in the field.
What were you staying in?
Tent.
On their property? Okay, so you stay there for how many days?
2.
All three of you in the same tent?
Yeah,
Okay.
we dropped.
So then, who comes and picks you up? Place for a couple days?
Yeah.
Okay, and then,
Then that's after we stayed at his house for a couple days. That's when we dropped because she didn't want to be with us anymore. And then that's when we went back to his parents' house, stayed there for one night, and then the next day is when we turned ourselves in.
okay. So, during this whole week, things are getting a little bit heated up, obviously, because we took the car and he
Yeah.
thinks that we're kind of onto him at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you guys are kind of in hiding and in a tent. And
Yeah,
Kinda
and
moving around.
they didn't want me away from them because they knew that I would tell.
Okay. So, where do you think it is?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay.
All she kept saying was she wanted her brother or her dad.
Okay. Was pretty upset when she left?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay. Did he say anything?
No. He just got quiet. An emotionless guy. Does not show any emotion at all.
Okay.
When the three of you guys are out in the field tenting and comes and picks you up, how does he know where you're at?
Communicate them with them on the phone.
On a phone? Okay. Is your phone still in your presence at this time, or did it already get
I don't
taken?
have my phone.
Okay. Why don't you have your phone?
I haven't had my phone since it started.
Okay. Why not?
They took it from me.
They is and okay. What did they do with it?
I don't know. She told me she shattered it.
Okay. One phone, two phones from you?
I only have one.
Only have one phone. Okay.
I used to have 2 when I worked at Bedrock.
Okay.
I had a company phone.
Right. So they took your phone. Took your phone
Yes.
because they didn't want you doing what?
Getting a hold of anybody.
Okay.
Or anybody pinging my number or...
Okay.
Okay.
pinging my location or anything like that.
Okay, and why doesn't worry about that?
I don't know.
There you go, I was gonna say, if you know.
Right, so that's a good point.
I can't think for him.
Okay. But he is calling people.
Yeah.
He called to come and pick you up.
Very few people.
Very few. Okay. Takes you back, and at that point, out.
Stayed with us at Bruce's for a couple of days
Okay.
first.
And on the way back up,
Let me see your pen. I'll show you. It'd be easier for me to just draw this.
Here,
on the other side.
let me get you, I'm gonna get you a brand new piece of paper here.
They're gonna save that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just actually sign it, see why we're thinking about it.
Alright. Say, here's the timeline. You got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So,
Just write the letters above those lines.
You have that kind of stuff.
I don't remember what day did I come in here.
It would have been, today is what, Friday, so it would have been,
Monday?
Monday night.
Okay. Tuesday. Okay, these are the days that we were on the run.
okay.
This is where they picked me up. Just so it's a little easier
Yeah.
easier to see.
Yep.
Because I know you keep thinking, well, this day, this day, this day.
Nope.
Okay. And then this is when they dropped that. And then about here would be where we lost it. Is that easier for you?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not being a smart ass.
No,
I didn't mean it in a smart ass
Yeah.
way. But it's easier for you to see.
So is this,
This is when,
you turned yourself in?
yeah.
So Saturday you stay at their house? He says they picked you up.
Yeah, they picked me up and then we went and stayed out in the woods
Okay,
both these days.
okay.
So, it's like this.
And that's in the woods at,
Well, it'd be Friday night.
okay,
Friday night, Saturday,
okay.
into Sunday morning. And then that's woods.
And they took your phone at that point?
Yeah, they took my phone here.
Okay,
And then I go here to here to here would be Bruce. Because it was late afternoon when we left there, and that's when she wanted to go. So, then here,
and when you dropped her off, was it at a residence or just on the
side of the road.
this side of the road?
Yep. And then here, this again. And this would be all of
Okay.
parents' house.
Alright.
Kind of gives you a time. It's, you know what I mean? It's confusing because we're talking about days and nights and days and
Sure.
nights. Just so you can see it better.
What specifically, can you describe specifically what you took to the woods?
What I took,
Mm-hmm.
a couple pair of pants. I can't honestly remember everything.
What were they in? Did you have them in something?
You know, gentlemen, we've actually covered, I think, the part where it goes to the location of Brynn, and he's discussed everything we discussed regarding we're getting into a collateral issue.
Okay.
So I prefer to stop right here.
break right now, real quick?
Sure.
Is
You
that
guys want-
fine?
Yeah. You guys want to review for other questions?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Restroom or anything?
It's Friday night.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
Well, Kendra?
Yeah, please.
If you need to talk privately, let us know. We'll move you to a different room. So. If you do, just.
I don't know if we do.
Please see.
Okay,
I don't believe so.
okay.
Something to drink?
Oh, no, I'm fine, thank you. Doing good.
All you gotta do is tell the truth. Told you.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I
you,
know.
you are, I can tell.
So, no, sorry, going to the unrelated areas.
Yeah. I kind of was getting iffy about that.
Yeah. And we're being recorded too, but.
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it is. I got a couple more questions for you, Mr. Wirgau. Relating to the discovery of.
All right. Let's go back to when you dug the hole and your observations. I guess can you provide a little more detail on how the vehicle got to the hole? Okay. Where was it parked at?
Behind my house?
It was parked behind your house? Okay.
Yeah.
So when she drove it to where the hole was, can you?
Backed up to the hole?
Okay. Now there's like a mowed path there. Is that the route that she took?
No.
No?
Pulled that not that long ago.
Okay. So which way did come into the
Pretty
hole?
close to that path.
Okay. So she backed up to it.
Right.
What happened then?
That's when they pulled the body out of the truck.
Okay. And when they pulled the body out, who pulled it out? Both of them?
Yes.
Okay. And when they pulled it out, you had indicated that it.
Yes.
Okay. What? Be as
Can
specific.
I clarify it? Did you see her naked body?
I'd seen her feet.
Okay. Just her feet.
That had nothing on it.
Okay.
So I had assumed that
You would
she was
assume she was
naked.
naked. Okay. So at no point.
Don't assume. Mr. Wirgau.
So you just saw her feet. At no point did you see her body,
No.
her head, her shoulders,
No.
her torso, her legs, just her feet. They put her in the hole. You heard the thud. Did they put anything else in the hole?
Yeah, I'd answered that already.
What's that?
I answered that.
I'm just clarifying.
Yes, they had me put a piece of concrete over the top.
Right. But aside from the concrete, any other articles?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. They didn't put, as far as you know, they didn't put the bags
Not that I'm
in the
aware
hole, the cardboard box.
Not that I recall.
Okay. So they put her in the hole, the gas on her, lights a piece of paper towel on fire, tosses that in the hole. There's a little poof.
Yes.
Concrete goes in, she gets covered up. Okay.
Yes.
The first time you seen her though, in back of their car, she was in garbage bags, in a box.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what happened to the garbage bags in the box?
I can't for sure say.
Okay, that's fine. But when they dumped her in a hole, she wasn't in
Those garbage bags.
garbage bags in a box.
No, because I've seen her feet.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know where they burnt the clothes?
Do I know where?
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't answer
Okay.
that.
Right. They just said they were gonna burn clothes.
Yes.
Okay. We don't know where though.
They had
Yeah.
some things to burn, is what
Okay.
he said.
Do you remember, I mean, this is kind of just off-wall question. Do you remember smelling like a fire that night when you were in the bedroom watching SpongeBob?
Not really. I
Okay.
remember seeing.
You remember seeing?
Yeah.
So they definitely had a fire.
Yeah, I
Okay.
could see the flames, you know, how you could see the reflection.
Okay.
Where is your daughter's bedroom at?
My daughter's bedroom's kitty corner, but when she was here with me for that week, she slept with me.
Okay. So where was the fire at in relation to your room?
It would be right behind my bed,
And that's in the
Outside.
back of your house or the front?
back,
Okay. Which end of the house? Where the trailer is with the babysitter?
west end.
Okay, that's it.
Closest to your bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that we had not asked you or that you have not told us yet that you feel is pertinent information that we need to know or should know?
No, I've pretty much told you everything I know.
Okay.
That's all I do know. I shouldn't say pretty much.
Yeah.
That's all I've covered everything.
Okay. Does anybody else, aside from, does anybody else to your knowledge, aside from you,
Not that I'm aware of.
okay, you haven't, have you discussed it with anybody?
No.
No. And as far as you know, the other three have not discussed it with anybody outside of the four of you?
As far as I know.
Okay.
At some point, your wife finds a fingernail and confronts you.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
It's one of the kids' stick-on nails.
Okay. Has nothing to do with.
No.
Okay. All right.
I had talked to her about it already.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do you know what happened with the SD cards from your cameras? The little cards that go in the camera.
For which one?
I don't know if it's the one up front or the one out back.
Those ones didn't have any SD cards.
Do you know about having any SD cards, whether they be the normal size or the micro SD cards? Do you know anything about those?
No, I don't.
Did he mention to you anything about his home surveillance system?
Yeah, as far as I knew, it didn't work.
It didn't work? Okay. Now, I've been there in the past, and he had a cardboard box set up like at the entrance of his garage, and on top of it he had a camera. It would kind of rotate. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. When you guys were staying in the woods, were you staying there under the guise of you were trying to avoid the police?
That's what I was told.
That's what you were told?
Yes.
Who told you that? They told you guys were hiding out because
Yes.
they felt the pressure was on because his Jeep got in, or his Hummer got impounded.
Yes, and they were worried what they were going to find in it.
Did he mention to you what he was worried that we may find in it?
DNA?
DNA?
Yes.
Did he say where her DNA in the Jeep may be?
Anywhere?
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Do you know what bleach smells like?
Yes.
Okay. When you went to their house, would it have been the day the backhoe was
Yes,
picked
it
up?
did.
The house smelled like bleach? Okay. Where at?
The whole house.
The whole house? Okay. Did you see any bleach bottles?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Definitely had smell though.
Yes.
Okay.
Like somebody just cleaned.
Okay.
Did you do any remodeling or anything after this at his house or anything like that you're aware of?
No, he did not.
No.
He didn't pay money to.
Okay. Because at some point there was a dumpster at his house. Do you recall that or?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Alright. Anything else for us today, Josh?
No. I think we pretty much covered everything.
There may be at some point, when I talk to you again, obviously we'll go through, Rick can talk to you. Mr. Steiger, I'm
Absolutely.
sorry.
No risk fine.
Absolutely.
And, we'll arrange that. So,
Okay.
Is there anything else that you guys think to add or clarify today? That,
No, gentlemen, like I said, if there's an addendum done
Okay,
regarding that one event, we'd be happy to sit down and talk to you.
all right,
That's easy enough to do.
fair enough.
And aside from that, who's taking Mr. Wirgau back?
we'll have one of the uniform troopers.
Can you ask them to let the man have a book and something to eat for dinner?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have him in the drunk cell. He's had one shower in a week. He's no TV, no books, nothing.
Okay.
He's gonna go nuts.
I just ask you to maybe not talk to anybody outside
That's fine. I want
I
to be
made that
I want to
very
be
clear.
segregated.
Okay.
And you do realize they gotta keep him alone, because there's people in there that know this young lady, that
Right.
dated this young lady.
Right.
The thing is I wasn't given my phone call or anything.
Okay.
That was
I'll take care of that Monday with
okay.
Christina, but
So
today
like
at
the-
least get you dinner and the books.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got something to do.
Or even if they could put me in a security cell,
I'll talk to her about money on that, but let's get you a book in there,
that's fine.
so.
Okay. I will call over there to make sure they have dinner. If not, we might have to get them something before we take them over there.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Drive through something.
So,
Okay.
I don't know, as far as the, there was a friend's suicide watch, I'm not sure what the game part is.
No.
I spoke.
I talked to the nurse too, and I
Okay,
made it clear that I'm not suicidal.
Okay, he was like, if you don't mind me speaking,
Go for
when I
it.
first met him, he was like borderline shocked.
Yeah.
Very emotional, crying the entire time. Yeah, so.
do you remember talking to us that night, a little bit?
Kinda.
Yeah. It was probably a blur.
It was. I know I wasn't very nice, and I apologize.
Understandable.
So.
You gotta do a lot more than that to offend me. Yes.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But it was out of line.
Okay,
Right.
Mr.
Some of the stuff I
That's it,
said.
sir. I am out of here for the
Fair enough.
weekend. No discussions
Have a
regarding.
good weekend.
You too. Talk about the weather, nothing else.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, you're very welcome. Detective Butt. So,
Have a good weekend.
Steve, you too.
Dennis, have a good weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you.
I really do want to apologize to you.
Okay. Hang tight for just a second.
Yeah.
Sort of.